I don't have a fancy intro for this video. Today I'm playing Control and rumor has it it's pretty good, so let's go. The game starts with our character Jesse entering some sort of large building called the Bureau of Control. Based on how Jesse's been talking during this intro sequence, she's been led here by someone. We make our way deeper into the building and find a friendly janitor named Ati. He says that as a new employee, we have to go to an interview. So we hop on the elevator and are met with an opening cutscene that ranges from relatively normal to slightly off-putting to straight up demonic. Title sequence over and elevator doors open. Jessie seems to be talking to a weird aura in her vision. She mentions having a baby brother named Dylan that the Bureau of Control took from her 17 years ago. We were just tooling around in these hallways when we hear a gunshot from the director's office. We barge in without knocking and find the director dead on the floor with a gun next to his body. The aura in our head thinks it'd be funny to contaminate the crime scene, so we pick up the gun and are treated with a cutscene with annoyingly cryptic ramblings and a weird pyramid. The subtitles say that only the director can wield the gun, and would you look at that, we're wielding it alright. We watch a slide projector with a scientist who explains that the service weapon, which is probably the gun we picked up, is an object of power, and can cause altered world events. And if we complete some challenge, we're the new director. We get teleported to some strange rectangle land, which the mission log calls the astral plane, where we do what anyone would do if they find themselves in the astral plane, which is doing some sick parkour, then slapping a shadow demon. We find our gun and make our way toward an arena where we partake in gun-related activities. Remember that guy we found dead on the floor? Well, now we're having a vision of him and he's talking to us somehow. With our gun in tow, we leave the director's... Oh, that's not good. We have a quick mental breakdown before the three fellows down the hall start shooting at me. We beat up those guys and then we... Oh, hello there. You just hanging out? One obligatory firefight later and we make our way to Central Executive, where we have another firefight. After winning, we do the superhero pose and cleanse the area. We then talk to somebody named Emily through an intercom system, and somehow she knows we're the new director, nor does she question what happened to the old director. Anyway, we meet Emily face to face, and we give a cute name to the shadow demons who've been attacking us. Jesse calls it the Hiss. Basically, the Hiss attacked the Bureau of Control and infected anyone who doesn't have an HRA, which is this metal trash lid strapped to their chest that keeps them from getting infected. Apparently, we can't get infected as the director for plot-related reasons, I'm sure. Emily asks us if we can cure people infected by the Hiss. Me and our aura give it a try, but no, we cannot cure them. We sit down and ask Emily some questions about the Bureau, which, to be honest, I don't really care about. All we gotta know for right now is that Emily thinks the old director, Trench, the guy who we're seeing visions of and found dead on the floor, she thinks that he knows the answers about where our brother is. So remember how the gun we're holding is called an object of power? Well, Emily wants us to go find another object of power, which is a telephone, which we can use to talk to Trench's ghost. So we're off to the communications department. Do you like this constant, unending demonic chatter? Well, I really hope so, because it literally never goes away. So we pop into the mailroom, get into a firefight, then find a non-related object of power. We cleanse it, then do another challenge in the astral plane where we get the ability to fling stuff. Then I fought a boss that you specifically cannot fling stuff at. Nice. After beating him, I found the hotline room. And in order to get there, I have to pull this rope, where I'm transported to a motel. One boring puzzle later, I pull the rope again and am transported to the hotline room, where I pick up the phone. We're back in the astral plane for some more parkour. Don't ask why I'm bleeding profusely, I just twisted my ankle. We pick up the phone and start listening to Trench. Basically, he says his management team knows all the secrets. Alright, Emily, where do we find his management team? Apparently we can find Marshall in the research sector. Alright, let's go. Oh, wait, the building is on lockdown, and in order to get into the research sector, I have to lift the lockdown, which I can only do in the maintenance sector. Alright, so we hop aboard the elevator, immediately got into another firefight, unlocked a sweet shotgun and tested it on the local wildlife, got bodied by the local wildlife, stumbled upon another object of power which gave us the ability to dodge and increase our parkour efficiency by 75%. We find Ati's office, and I'm not gonna lie, I really like this poster of Ati on the door that shows him standing in the same position that we find him inside. So Ati does the classic, oh, you want X? Well, you gotta do Y first. So, step 1 is fixing some cooling pumps in the power plant. After a bit of senseless murder, it looks like something is blocking the pipes. So we're off to fix it, and there's a creature called the Clog, which is, well, clogging the pipes. If you're wondering what I did to fix it, it's a creature. I have a gun. You do the math. Next up, we gotta fix the converters with a little more violence and putting the square in the square hole. Now that we've fixed the power plant, we can put our gun in the gun hole and lift the lockdown. And back to Emily, Jesse explains that the day the Bureau took Dylan 17 years ago, Jesse and Dylan found an object of power that was a slide projector. While goofing around with it, Jesse met the aura in her head that she named Polaris. I'm going to go over everything later, but for now, just know that the weird thing in her head is named Polaris, and we're going to find Marshall because she knows where Dylan might be. And we're off to the research sector, where I got this new gun attachment. It's like a machine gun. It's kind of bad and I don't use it very much. So I committed some more violence, then got so lost that it took me half an hour of wandering around to finally Google where I had to go. My cheating was rewarded with this really annoying puzzle, which I solved and then took out my anger on this Magneto-looking fellow. The whole game I thought this guy was a paraplegic in a wheelchair, but now looking at him, he's just chained to a chair with a bag on his head. Either way, he gets bonked like the rest. We meet Marshall and she says, "Oh, you want some X? How about a little Y first?" Basically, she wants us to reclaim the HRA lab from the Hiss. If you remember, the HRAs are the trash lid looking things that used to protect normies from the Hiss. So you know the drill, we gotta commit some more atrocities, and I also unlocked the single best weapon in the game. This Pierce shot is basically a sniper rifle that one-shots everything. We make it to the HRA lab and take a break from the violence to do another stupid puzzle. We reactivate the machine that makes the HRAs, and the power source breaks. So we turn to Marshall and are like, so can you tell me about my brother? And she's all like, why don't you go get some more of that power source, then we'll talk. So after a little more horrific violence and another boring motel puzzle, I find another object of power that gives me the ability to make a shield. Handy. We make it to the quarry where the black prisms are being mined for, and to be honest, this place kinda looks like Nokron from Elden Ring. Anywho, we blow a hole in this wall and pick up the rock. Here you go, Marshall, now tell me about Dylan. Turns out he's here in the building and was put in the candidate program to train people to become the new director of the Bureau. But he became too powerful or something and they placed him in containment, so that's where we're going next. A little more violence, followed by another boring puzzle. Oh, just so riveting. So we make it to the PANOPTICON, which is probably where Dylan's being held. We meet a guy named Langston, who we ask if he... Oh. Hey, look, he has a cleft lip. Anyway, we ask Langston where we can find Dylan, and he says there's an object of power up there that's causing havoc on the facility. And if we want to see Dylan, we have to wrangle it first. So the classic, you want X, do Y. But that's okay, I'll let it slide for my boy Langston. So we make our way into the PANOPTICON, and it's pretty goofy. This is where they stored altered items, which are basically diet versions of objects of power. And man, we got some real bangers here, like mailbox, swan boat, water cooler, and the ringleader of it all, crowbar. So I was going about my day when I stumbled across this guy who's sitting in front of a fridge. This is Philip. He says the fridge will deviate if somebody doesn't watch it at all times. The person who was supposed to come take over for him never arrived because of the lockdown. But Jesse seems too busy to help him, so I guess we'll have to come back. Hang in there, Philip. I've got a flawless track record of doing every side quest in every game I've ever played. Oh, yes. So we find the TV and are forced to engage in Mortal Kombat again. So the thing about not doing side quests is that apparently playing on the hardest difficulty and not doing those side quests have rendered my bones as fragile as toothpicks because these enemies hurt very, very badly. They make me walk all the way back just to fight them again. I win the second time, but while looking at this lore collectible that I know I'm never going to read, I accidentally dash off the edge and die instantly. No, please don't make me... We're back in the astral plane, and it looks like we can add flight to our list of risk factors impacting our chances of dying. Just kidding, they didn't make me walk all the way back again. So with the power of flight on our side, we make our way to Dylan's cell and find out he's missing. Emily calls us on the intercom system and tells us that Dylan just showed up at Central Executive and turned himself in. So back to Emily. Apparently Dylan's been infected by the Hiss, but he's acting differently than everyone else who's been infected. So, can I see him? Oh, of course not. You want X, you gotta do Y first.
It's on the upper floor up the stairs.
Oh, never mind. You can just go see him. No strings attached. Yes, it's Dylan. He's floating in the air and spouting demonic gibberish, but hey, here he is. Also, is it me, or does this guy look like the Jackbox Games mascot guy? I'm sorry, I just can't unsee that. Anyway, he's kind of going crazy and saying iconic things like, push your fingers into the surface into the wet, and orange peel.
Stop it!
Orange peel!
Shit!
When he isn't going crazy, he says that Polaris is using us and blah blah blah. He wants us to go discover the secrets of the Bureau for ourselves by learning about the Prime Candidate program. So he hands us a key card through his enclosed cage and we set off to the containment sector. A little more senseless murder later, and we find out that the Bureau's been spying on us our entire lives and monitoring us to be the 7th candidate to become the next director. So remember how earlier I mentioned that Jesse and Dylan found a slide projector object of power 17 years ago? Well, the Bureau has it and we need to go get it. I'm really sorry, the lore is getting harder and harder to sweep under the rug, but bear with me, I'm going to give you a lore dump in just a minute. So we gotta find the slide projector, and the only way to find the projector is through the ashtray maze. And the only way we can get through the maze is with Ati's help. So we commit a little bit more murder, do another boring motel puzzle, then commit a lot more murder, and finally end up on this cable car. So we hop off and it's time to fight the final boss of the game, Ati.
No.
Nah, I'm just kidding. He gives us his cassette player and tells us to use it to navigate the maze. So we put on our headphones and enter the maze. Some epic rock music starts playing and We start tearing our way through the maze. I'm gonna be honest, this is probably my favorite part of the entire game. I'll just let it speak for itself. And just so you know, I did not add this music, it was just part of the game.
That was awesome.
Yeah, amen, sister. So yeah, we go to the slide projector and it's gone. So we gotta go looking for it, and we learn some things about Polaris.
I've named it Hedron based on its physical shape.
Hedron.
We built a
Was
container
that
for it.
you? Did he bring you here? Is that why you brought me here? You're here. You're here. They have you.
Stop. Okay, time to take a second to do a lore dump. Let's begin by explaining who the Federal Bureau of Control is. They're sort of like your Men in Black or SCP Foundation kind of organization. The FBC is in charge of managing otherworldly situations called altered world events, which are caused by ordinary objects, like a Stretch Armstrong, that's become a conduit for supernatural events. They call these altered items. Well, the Bureau of Control found a place in New York City called the Oldest House, which was an entire building that became an altered item. In the building, they found objects of power, which are basically juiced-up versions of the altered items that can transfer powers to those who touch them. The service weapon, our gun, is an object of power that makes the person holding it the director. The previous director, Trench, wanted to make sure that the next director after him would be fit to wield the service weapon, so he created the Prime Candidate program to do that. So let's take a step back and let's talk about Jesse and Dylan. While kids in a town called Ordinary, they stumbled across an object of power in the form of a slide projector that opens portals to other dimensions. Jesse and Dylan got trapped in these other dimensions and only escaped when they inserted the hand slide. In there, they met Hedron, or Polaris, who helped them to escape. Once they got out, they burned all the slides except for the hand slide. Then, the Bureau showed up and captured Dylan and took the slide projector, while Jesse managed to get away. The Bureau called Dylan the 6th Prime Candidate and called Jesse the 7th, but kept an eye on her in case Dylan didn't work out. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know why they decided to just stalk her for an entire life rather than just capture her, but whatever. So, with the slide projector, the Bureau explored the hand slide and followed a specific resonance until they found its source. They called the source Hedron. Again, Jesse calls it Polaris. So they dragged Hedron out of the hand slide and built a container for it in the Oldest House. After studying Hedron more, they discovered there was a second malicious resonance, the Hiss, that was infecting other dimensions. Hedron was protecting its own dimension until the FBC snatched it up. So, the Bureau used Hedron to create the HRAs, or Hedron Resonance Amplifiers, to protect the workers of the Bureau. However, without Hedron protecting the hand slide dimension, the Hiss took over and managed to poison the mind of the old director, Trench, and make him open the hand slide and release the Hiss into our world. Fast forward to the start of the game, Hedron left a small piece of itself in Jessie in the form of Polaris and guided her to the FBC to stop the Hiss invasion. So, since the Hiss are coming from the slide projector, our plan is to turn off the slide projector and hopefully stop the Hiss too. And that brings us back to the present. But before we move on, if you think for 1 second that I knew all this from reading the lore and listening to the story, you are a fool. There's a link in the description to the video I used to help break down the story. Anyway, our old pal Hedron is in there and she wants us to come on in. So we destroyed this giant HRA on the door and are reunited with our old friend. But without the giant HRA on the door, the Hiss creep in and start attacking Hedron. We fight our way up to Hedron and try to save her, but it seems like we're too late and Hedron is dead. With her gone, we get possessed by the Hiss and credits roll. Credits, what's going on here? This is weird, I don't like this. Alright, we wake up as some sort of intern at the FBC. We deliver some mail and then volunteer to take the director their mail. We start freaking out and then Dylan puts the service weapon to her head and, oh gosh, that's dark. Well, we wake up again and repeat the process of delivering the mail to the director. This time, it's the old director Trench that's in the hot seat, and we learn that Trench was actually the one who turned on the projector. I kinda skipped ahead and already told you that, so that's where I learned it. Alright, take 3. We run back in and pull a Master Chief, I need a weapon, and we grab our weapon and take out Trench. And I guess we accept that now we're the new director, so that's epic. And as the director, I gotta do another boring motel puzzle. Basically, this place is like a wormhole in someone's mind. And guess who's in my mind? Me! But not just me, Polaris me! Now, through the power of friendship, I am now the source of Hedron, and with that, we're ready to take on the Hiss and stop the projector. I didn't mention this earlier, but the Hiss's goal is to infect the astral plane, which is a bridge between dimensions. Looks like they already did, so stakes are high. Murder, 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 and we perform an exorcism on Dylan, and Dylan's in a coma. But on the bright side, we're now the new director. Fade to black and credits roll. The real credits now, I think. Alright everyone, pack it in, good job, GG's. I can't help but think I'm forgetting something. Hey, Philip, I would never forget about you.
Jesse? The fridge is doing something!
Oh, Philip's dead. Well, guess I gotta take care of this fridge. What was that? Oh, what the fuck? Whoa, hey, did you enjoy the video? Of course you didn't, because I'm not playing your favorite game. So, how do we fix this dilemma? Well, you can try what Roman Drucker did by asking me to play his favorite game. So yeah, shout out to him for suggesting this video. So yeah, that's kind of all I had to say. I'm still fighting that boss, huh? Here, let's watch it together, you and me, old pal. I'll just scooch down here out of your way. Yeah, I'm really giving it to him. So, did you have a good day? Got any plans after this? Oh, you do? Oh, well, don't worry, I'm really giving him the business. I'm sure it'll be over soon. You know, we've been together for the last 15 minutes or so. I've been meaning to ask. Did you like the video? You can be honest with me. You won't hurt my feelings. My incredibly delicate feelings. Oh, good. I'm glad you liked it. Yeah, we're friends. Why do you ask? What's my social security number? Well, I mean, I guess we're friends. It's 339804.